Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the game. Something funny. This sweater I'm wearing. Somebody else that I know, they work for Home Depot. They meant to order a 1XL, and they actually accidentally ordered a 2XL, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna wear this." And so, ooh, light up dice. So those are the ones that connect to your computer.
No, I wish. It's a thing that whenever it rolls a 20.
Oh, 20. Yeah, I have one of those somewhere.
Wait, there we go.
But the battery died, and I don't know how to change the battery.
I'm not sure if you can.
So I usually wear a large, but this is a 2XL.
Yeah, are we not
so
on stream yet?
Oh, wait, what? Oh, you know why? I know why. It's because I have studio mode on, and when you press a button on studio mode, it just loads it up. OBS and slobs are different. On OBS, if you click the button, it transitions the scene. On slobs, if you click the button, it loads up preview the scene. It doesn't actually switch it. So, it's just different programs work differently. But anyways,
I like the choice of picture.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah. Rena made it, so, you know. I like how one of them is just like a purple shirt, and the other one's like a plaid shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, one of them's for Lost Initiative, and the other one's for Daelric. Yeah, so if you actually look at the one that's not from Lost Initiative, if you look at the one that's available to certain people in on this channel.
Yeah, there's we don't actually see you in chat.
Yeah, from Norway, yeah.
Oh, there's the emotes.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
But anyways, hi boys. How are we doing today?
Good.
I have a lot of coffee.
I'm almost done with my first cup of microwave from yesterday coffee. So.
Oh, this is blasphemous.
Listen, I know. I'm aware. I'm fully aware. You know, I'm that whore that walks into church on Sunday morning and says, "I got to get out of here. Can this priest wrap it up? I have an appointment." You know, like I get it. I get it.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, that doesn't mean I don't worship. It just means I got better things to do. Anyways.
I'll give it to you today.
Actually, for the right price, you can give it to me every day.
No thanks.
Oh, sorry. I was lost in my analogy. All right. My apologies.
I thought you were about to plug the Patreon just then.
Oh, I plug Joey as often as I can. Twitch.tv/abusivesnaga. Anyways, let's
So what happened last session?
Jake, take it away. What happened last session?
Last session. Well, we got given our mission. We went on a sea voyage. Paddled our way upstream. Getting stopped by people that had no business stopping us, and we're still not at the gate. So that's a summary of last week.
We totally didn't hear buzzing right as the session ended.
No, because I have the candle, so there's no buzzing that's going on.
There shouldn't be buzzing.
No.
Well, I mean, a candle has to be lit.
It was lit.
The candle's not lit. It has a limit. It has a limited
It's
number.
always lit.
No.
It's always
one of
lit
those
in here,
things where
right?
we have to light it once we're in the area.
It's actually really cool because there are good unlike 5e, which just has very 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 limited number of spells to have access to. Pathfinder, you actually have spells that could specifically potentially alter the effectiveness, or at least the duration of the candle. Like something that might make it so it burns lower and longer, or like is more effective and like blasts out. I don't think it's pyrotechnics that does. I think it's specifically control flame has that kind of like effectiveness. Which, by the way, I think there is a version of that in 5e because of the one of the books that came out a few years ago. But don't worry about that. Anyways, so there are ways that you can potentially manipulate how well it burns. But anyways, you don't have any of those abilities. You're just going to potentially light it up once you hear the happening your way. But I do want to mention one thing that was brought up last week. As you guys are traveling through the sea, you heard a couple of rumors.
Oh, yeah, about pirates.
And then you guys landed on shore, and everything's safe for your crew.
Yeah, you were just intimidating the different crew.
What different crew? There's no other crews. They don't know. Don't tell them.
Oh no, just a couple of members of chat said that they were no longer playing a specific game.
Oh, you're talking about them? I don't mind them. I meant specifically the Friday night crew.
Oh, really?
They don't know.
Oh,
this past Friday, we're like, so guys, how are you gonna get to Delagus? And it was all like, down by the bay where the undead kraken grow.
Okay. I pick up what you're putting down. Nice.
Okay. I'm gonna. That's fantastic.
Yeah, they have no idea. No idea. They're like, yeah, that seems like a good route. And I'm like, excellent.
I think that the hearing that is one of the most scary things I've heard in the whole of Aurorum.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, story of a kraken. That's bad, but it's not too undead kraken.
It took 100 ships to put it down. Lost most of them.
Yep.
Oh, but wait, there's more. It came back.
Yeah.
And it's undead.
Act now, and you can have. Oh, that's awesome. So funny. Okay, so let's jump into the game. So you guys went through a lot of stuff, including some obnoxiousness traveling up. And do we stop? I don't know. All right, let's stop. Let's see if these people are like decent. Nope, they're assholes. And so you decided to play along to the best of your ability. Neil, hey Neil. Neil got a little douchey with them, and it kind of worked out. Totally worked out.
It was funny.
Yeah. And you guys hop back in your boat and continue headed north. Dropped off your crew outside of the marshlands, the swamp that's over there, like right along the rim of it, like right where it was like, it's kind of but it's still pretty safe. And then you continue to go inside, just the four of you. This is going to be Tristan, Viggo, Galen, and Timmy. We're all making your way into, towards, what's it, Magadan? I think it's technically the name of the place where you're going to. The gate is its nickname.
Yeah, Magadan.
Yeah. The gate is its nickname. So anyways, you guys are making your way inside there. Well, all of a sudden you kind of hear as like a growing...
Candles. I'm assuming you light the first candle.
Well, I don't know. Does Viggo even notice? Viggo might not be paying attention. I mean, you guys...
Are you giving me a choice or are you making me roll?
Oh, you guys should I'm just saying, maybe you should roll a D20 to see if you guys, notice it. Just like a perception check.
You would like that, would you?
I would. I'll go ahead and roll for Neil. Is anybody here wondering where Neil is, or did he announce where he was to everybody else, like in like spoilers?
I don't think he did.
Okay. Oh, wow!
God.
I really am rolling for Neil. Jesus, that's funny. Just so everybody knows, the viewers know, Neil, in short, he just has I think it's like orientation or something like that for college for this semester. So nothing crazy.
Well,
he'll be back next week. Actually, in theory, if we continued playing to the end, he could join us for the last hour. But
he also may show up.
Early, but...
in the first little bit and then disappear again.
No.
I don't think so.
No, I
Probably
think
not, but I say may just in case he pops in. So,
just so he doesn't screw things up, I'm just going to go ahead and delete the message with that link on it. Because he'd pop in and totally get us off course if we're actually on it. So Neil has been disinvited.
wow.
All right. So back to the as you guys are traveling along there, you guys voted for crits, correct?
No. We're the only campaign that does not.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
A bunch of Sallys. So
Hey, I was totally for crits.
you all happen to notice the buzzing kind of right around the same time. Gallon is the only one that's a little bit distracted. I think he was just chugging a gallon of milk. He's trying to do the gallon. What's it called? Gallon challenge. So that'd be funny. You could be like, ladies, you want to do the gallon challenge? But anyways.
Bad, Scott.
It was only made worse because after I said it, I realized I just made the gallon of milk reference. And then
Yes.
I said it, and then my brain put them together, and I was like, that's so nasty.
Yeah.
It's not what I meant. It just accidentally came out that way, or went in that way. So you yeah, you guys happen to notice the buzzing all at once. Jake, I imagine your character with shaking hands freaks out a minute, and
Lights the candle.
he didn't correct it, so he is rather intimidated by the business. So you go over to grab the candle and immediately rush over to light it. Now, clearly you heard them relatively quickly, like that you guys rolled very well. I just want you to go ahead and, for the sake of lighting the candle, which shouldn't be particularly difficult, roll for me a reflex save. I was just seeing how quickly you can get it done. It's honestly not that big of a deal. Unless you roll 1. All right, cool. So with your 13 total, you actually light up the candle pretty darn quickly. The reason why this matters is because it was said beforehand that it does help keep these creatures at bay. But those that are already kind of like on you,
Locked on.
in, they're going to be able to get through. So that being said, because you happen to light the candle a little bit later, that does reduce the amount. I'm going to allow, let's see, we'll let Steve roll a d4 minus 1. So he rolls the d4, we'll subtract 1 from it, and that's the most that come through.
Roll a 1, roll a 1, roll a 1. Damn it.
Okay, so it's not that bad. So what happens is you very quickly go over and you light the first candle. You light the candle to get it done. Tristan, seeing you light the candle, just kind of assumes that everything's all set. He goes, imagine he kind of like as he's hearing it, looks over at Viggo and says, "Mate," and Viggo's already pulling the candle out, and he's like, "All right." And then you can imagine what the hell's his name over there. Gallon kind of quickly like tosses over like a bit of steel as Viggo's grabbing out some flint and is like, "Chick, chick," and like very quickly lights that candle up that's inside there. So Tristan notices that it's all lit. He's like, "All right, that's good then," and makes his way below deck to remove him from 2 rounds of combat, if even 2 rounds of combat happen. It makes his way below deck, thinking that things are good. Your character is kind of like smelling the smell that comes off of the candle. Again, these candles themselves are made out of honey, right? But it's not just made out of honey; it's made out of the my brain's not working. Oh no, that was the potpourri, right?
Yeah, no, the candles are made out of spider eater.
Yeah, that's right, spider eater honey.
Wax.
So spider eater wax. So it has this like a very strange smell to it, almost like a slight acidic smell to it, right? Either way, so you have this like smell that kind of comes off of it, and you notice it almost instantly. But just to be safe, you kind of like you would, I imagine, go over to where Gallon is, and the 2 of you would stand nearby the candle to make sure that it's effective around the 2 of you. And Timmy was already below deck, and Tristan just made his way down there as
We
it is.
would also want to grab our satchels of potpourri at this stage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I also, again, imagine that you've already divvied that up. Oh, no, you wouldn't have. Oh, would you have divvied that up into the...
coming?
Yeah, you probably would have.
Thing, yeah.
So I
Yeah,
imagine
once we
everybody
entered
has
the
it like
area,
on them.
probably,
Yeah, everybody kind of has it on.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because you don't want to waste the sniffs. But potpourri actually lasts for a pretty long period of time once it's exposed to... You just didn't know how long this travel would be. Anyways, so imagine you have your little satchels of potpourri, like you said, Tesh, and you'd be traveling with it. You'd have it kind of like strapped to like your back or your chest or whatever. You smell nice. Oh, thanks. You do too. Aw. And you two got to be
very familiar. Huh?
No.
It'd be a very familiar smell for Galen.
Neil, can you pop in for an extended period of time, or just like 5 minutes? So either way, you guys would smell the honeysuckle smell, which I think you already identified that beforehand. Correct, Tesh?
40 minutes, you said.
Oh, cool. Never mind. Let me get that link back up in there. Invite. Where are you, Neil? Bam. Either way, so you guys happen to notice pretty quickly that there is along the border there. I just have to let me hide non-video participants. There you go. Ghost is hidden. And I can unhide that later on as needed. That's just dialed in literally from my cell phone. So just to make things work. Oh, Neil, I've also got your face covered by a couple of scooters.
I like scooters. That's all right. We don't have time, but I would divert and tell you a story about scooters, but
Nope. So we just lit the candle and we each have a bag of potpourri. Just so as you know.
Each one of us, yeah.
Also, Scott rolled a net 20 on your perception for the buzzing.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome. I wanted to make sure I accurately represented you. So anyways, you happen to step below deck just for a moment, just to go. It's one of those things like, oh, I forgot my potpourri, and then you went below deck to go get it, right? Whereas these boys are up there kind of looking out. So while you guys are up there kind of looking out, giving Neil a moment to settle in, you look about and you can actually see, holy shit, these things are not small. If you imagine imagine your cat with 4 wings buzzing around, or in the case of Jake, it's about the same size. Imagine Percy with 4 wings buzzing around your house.
Horrifying.
Yeah. And just and not moving slowly either. I mean, these things, it's one of those funny things, and there's a lot of different types of medias and whatnot that talk about it, but there's a lot of different talk about how bugs almost seem to live in a different frame of time than we do. They notice things quicker than we do. They react to it quicker than we do. We look like these big. So, despite the fact that these things are significantly larger than the bugs that you would, the actual small bugs, they move, at least from your perspective, at about the same goddamn speed as a goddamn housefly. Well, I should say as a mosquito. We all know that mosquitoes move slower than houses. Mosquitoes are kind of dumb. So they still move ridiculously fast, frighteningly fast. So looking out and seeing these things about there, you guys looking out can see there's 3 dozen of them being kept at bay by the candle being lit. It's one of those whoa, that's crazy. You know what I mean? But despite the fact that they all seem to be kept at bay, hearing bugs almost is triggering. You know what I mean? It's there's one of those moments.
Probably has a blade, one of his crystal blades in his hand, ready just because it's on edge, sort of feeling.
Oh yeah, completely understand. Yeah, absolutely. So either way, you kind of it's one of those freaky feelings, and you hear that buzzing happening from behind you. It's nah. And at one point in time, when you go to scratch your head, you swear you felt almost a little tuft of wind over there, and then you could say it's who rolled higher, but you can say it's Viggo that just I forget exactly how Jake described him, but I almost imagine Viggo having longer hair. For whatever reason, I imagine Viggo having longer.
He has long hair.
Okay, good. To me, in my mind, it makes sense that he has long, because he's like, I am of noble birth, or at least of wealth. You know what I mean? Of course I have long locks of hair. Look at me. My name is Jake. So anyways, I imagine he's just kind of feeling that little gust of wind behind him. Turns around, just one of those expecting to see nothing, but just his instinct is to do so. And he turns around and is surprised at how close there was a goddamn sturge behind it. It was literally right behind him. But as he turns around to see it, his sudden movement caused the sturge to just kind of like suddenly buzz back a little bit, also whip around to the front side. So as he goes to look around this way, it kind of goes back and comes around. But in coming around, comes into the line of sight of Galen on the other side. So all of a sudden, both of you guys come to the realization that there's a sturge like right there within like, say, 5-10 feet of where you are. So it's just off of the boat from melee range, but like right there. And at this point in time, I'm going to have you roll an initiative really quickly.
Yep.
And this will be all of you. Hold on, let me make sure I'm on the same overlay as you, so this works out well. Yep. So wait, hold on, make sure you guys are on the same overlay as me. Yeah, you are. There's only one overlay.
We don't have token. Oh, there's tokens.
Just drag and drop your mini. I think it'll work because I think we chose tokens for you. If we did it, we can get them soon. Anyways, and at the same time that you guys happen to be noticing this one here, again, because you both have to roll. Well, Jake specifically, because you have to roll a 20 for your perception. You notice that there's another one about 5 more feet behind you, but about 10 feet up, so about 15 feet away. Okay, so one about just ahead of where Tesh is, like just out of melee reach, unless you have a reach weapon, and one just out of reach up there.
I have a crossbow.
Let me actually open up the this thing here. Let me grab a couple of sturges. And you can definitely roll yours. Thank you, Neil. You did roll yours.
I rolled mine initially, but I didn't have a token out. And then you were like, oh, you can just drag and drop. And I was like, interesting.
That's the sturge on the map, by the way.
Whoa.
Oh, my God, Scott, it looks like your dick.
Whoa. Okay.
No comment.
That's a purple one. It's so funny looking.
Thanks, I hate it.
Is that funny looking?
They are funny looking.
They are weird.
Well, because you have to imagine
it's like the way their wings like cut in so much. Like, are they flying or are they just gliding?
Well, that's just that artist's rendition.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not particularly good. But you have to imagine it almost has like inside of that little almost beak or whatever has like that's where the hypodermic needle. Because if you actually look at how mosquitoes feed off of you, they inject like 7 needles into you at the same time, or is it like 9 needles they inject into you at the same time? It's pretty like it's pretty horrifying what they do. I hate them so much. I'm pretty sure we all do. Oh, I forgot to add that in here, so I'm just gonna do 1d20 plus 4. I'll just do it this way instead of clicking my thing the other way.
Yay!
Wow, I rolled trash for both of them. So actually, this guy and Neil, just so you know, you just ran below deck, so you have a. It's gonna take you a moment to run upstairs. We'll say 1 round of running upstairs and kind of taking in the situation. You'll be good. But at least you have your potpourri on you. All right, cool. So that's gonna lead to Galen first. Galen again, just outside of melee reach in front of you, and then there's another one behind you, but you don't care about that one yet.
Okay, very much a reactionary, taking a shot at the one that's it's fairly close to me, right? It's still outside of melee.
Correct, fairly close.
Yeah,
to
so I wouldn't
yes.
need to like move to change anything. So
it is outside of melee. Yep, you just have to throw. Correct.
Yep. Then I have the point blank shots applied. Cool. I'm just gonna use my crystalline bolt against it. Oops, I forgot I had to click the other one first, but that still works.
That does work. Yeah. The other one just makes it so it separates the two, but you absolutely can do that. So why don't you describe this? Because like you described it before of like as people seeing it, but not described it before as like part of a combat. Go ahead, sir.
He can create them in his hand to hold, or he just flat out sort of flicks his hand and they fly out of his wrist, almost out of like the palm of his hand. The blade, as it forms, it is flying towards this creature, and it stabs in like a blade before doing the disintegration.
Before doing the disintegration, thank you so much. So, and you did a ridiculous amount of damage there. So the 20 chance to hit, that's a really good chance to hit, and that's 8 points of damage.
Yep.
Describe how it is that you. So obviously, it kind of like slides in. Describe how it is that you actually kill this creature.
Oh, okay. This is one of those things where it's like reaction shot. This thing's flown up right next to him. This is what he's been sort of training for, the instincts to flicks it straight and it goes straight between the eyes and just crumbles down into the swamp as we're and like goes past as we're moving.
Bootyful, and I imagine, I don't think, did your character actually put on his outfit prior to now, or is it kind of like,
yes, he did.
Okay, I wasn't entirely sure on that one. Cool. And the cool thing about that outfit that you can put on is because it is considered a psychoactive skin. When you turn it on, you actually have the option of it being like literally melding back into your body as a swift action, so it's the same thing as it is anyways, or coming out of your body. So like even if it's a regular psychoactive skin, you can have it go inert. Effective, which is super cool.
Yep. Swift action on or off.
Awesome. So you actually killed that one very quickly. So I'm going to remove one from initiative right now. And then that is going to... did your character do anything else at this turn?
No, he's sort of like looks to the other one, and then that's the end of his turn because he'll wait for someone else to act.
Perfect. Viggo, you're actually next up. I don't know if you can even do anything.
Well,
So again, 5 feet behind, or from how you turn around, 5 feet back, 10 feet up. You see it.
All right, well, I'm going to move away.
Okay, move away. So again, you're on just like a little Neil boat. They're not particularly, keel boat. I keep saying Neil. Keel boat. They're not particularly large, but you could definitely, move yourself away from this along the deck.
Yeah, so I'm going to move myself away. The only thing, I have a crossbow, but obviously don't have it loaded in that right now, so I can just prepare
Just for the sake
an
of everybody in
attack.
chat. That's
With a
about
dagger.
how big a keel boat is. They're not particularly large. Okay, that happens to be below deck. This was used in a previous session I did with Patriot a long time ago. That's below deck, but that's about how long they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not
Nice.
long at all.
Continue.
Yeah, I'm just going to move away and prepare an attack with my dagger.
Okay. Prepare an attack with your dagger. Beautiful. So in case it approaches, you'll be able to attack against it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Tristan, just to see if you can get upstairs and still take an action, why don't you go ahead and make me an acrobatics check?
An acrobatics check.
Wow, Ano. Ano, that's rough, dude.
Yes.
To go
The answer is yes, my man.
upstairs.
And there's no athletics in this one.
Well,
Acrobatics.
I'm
it's
just going to let you know I will fail this.
That's not necessarily true. You roll
I
it,
just
Neil.
choose to take 10.
Oh.
Whoa.
I'd literally just walk. Like, why would I not just walk up the stairs normally, presuming there's
No.
nothing going on?
I was trying to see that you, because you can obviously hear them scrambling about. You can hear their footsteps and everything. Maybe like a call, like as he's like throwing, like you hear that stuff. So this is, I was just saying, for your character to be able to get upstairs and still have to, without having to dash effectively or double move.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So you unfortunately spent your turn kind of running upstairs to see what's going on up there, and you kind of very quickly are able to, because you got a 20 perception before, very quickly able to take in the situation. The two of them have now turned their attention towards a sturge that's above head, kind of like buzzing around really quickly. Could somebody check, go ahead and roll me a D3, first one to roll. That decides who the sturge is going to attack. So you see it buzzing around up head, but you did have to double move to get up there, Neil. Anything you can do with your swift action or no?
No.
Thank you, Ano. So what you happen to witness as this is happening is you actually see that the sturge is above head, darts around a couple of times, and then it actually, as Galen kind of pulls out another crystal and gets ready to throw it. It's one of those things where almost instinctively, as he pulls out the crystal, he looks down at it as it's forming, and the thing quickly buzzes around. It's a bug. Let's be clear. It's not like it took the opportunity. It just, by coincidence, it buzzed by and is hard looking up into a sky. We have bits of light coming through the canopy and the canopy itself, and how these things happen to be camouflaged. For him to kind of like track it with its eye, when he looked down and looked back up, it's hard to kind of track it with his eye. So he doesn't notice it kind of flies down behind him and tries to swoop in and attack him like, from behind, because they always go for between the blades of your shoulders, or almost always go that way, as previously discussed. So
God.
I am going to go ahead and make my touch attack against you. I did say touch attack.
Oh, it's a touch attack. Oh no.
Does my 19 touch attack?
Look, it might hit.
Wow, it's a touch attack?
Oh yeah,
That
absolutely.
is
Why?
terrifying.
That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh yeah, because it just has to touch down on you. Give me
But
one
that
second.
doesn't, that bypasses a touch attack, like bypasses armor?
Yeah, absolutely. Because think about it. Think about a mosquito. It doesn't matter that you're wearing heavy clothing; they still bite you.
Yeah, but they can't go through like metal or.
No,
Stone
no.
just can.
But think about a mosquito. They don't go through metal; they go around it. They just go zip.
Yeah, I mean,
And they literally have vision to see where the veins are and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I just think like, I mean, I'm not complaining about this situation. I just feel like Pathfinder had gone a bit bonkers with that one. Like,
oh, they die so easy. All right, so you ready for this? Because it attached itself to you on its turn, a Scourge drains blood at the end of its turn if it's attached to a foe. So immediately, sir, you take 1 point of Constitution damage.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
My damage reduction does nothing to this.
No,
issue?
not con damage. No. It sucks you hard. So,
Jesus.
because of what level are you? 3. That also means that your maximum health points reduced by 3 temporarily. So you do look at temp HP, you do -3. Huh. All right. Anyways.
Oh, it already did it. Oh wait. Why is it? Oh, because you're adjusting my sheet, so it's
oh my
not
god, a
saving.
sturge!
You kept
Alright,
adjusting my sheet, which is why it didn't save any of my input.
All right. Go ahead. I just typed -3. That's
You
all I typed.
sturge?
All right. So
my blood?
it flies around. It actually starts sucking on poor Gallon. Gallon, that's its whole
won't
turn.
Save. I
Alright.
can't save minus.
Is yours
1.
popped out?
Yeah.
It could be because you have a pop out going.
Oh,
That,
yeah.
that tends to screw out. I know, it's annoying. All right, Jake, it's your turn. No, Gallon, it's your turn. This thing is on your goddamn back.
I would like it to be off my back, please.
So technically speaking, it's considered grappled is kind of how it works. So you can do
Well, I
an
have a-
opposed grapple check or
I
an
have a-
escape artist check to get off of it.
You know, funny you should say that. That it happens
a
to be
shot
a
of immolation.
grapple. No.
You can
funny
attack
you
while
should say
grappled.
that happened to be grappled.
Oh, wait.
Because I have spiked carapace on, which
Oh.
means grapple checks do damage.
Oh yeah, so it doesn't have to make a grapple check to attach itself. That's actually immediately a part of it.
Yeah, I know, but it means I can.
But you can
attack it with
more
a
or less,
grapple check.
more or less, you just got to go over to the mast of the ship and rub your back against it and allow your spiked carapace to do the work for you. Oh, oh, that's
You're gonna
brilliant.
You're gonna start singing bare necessities as well.
Let me get that, 'cause I unpopped
I love
the
Jungle Book.
thing out. So let me just double check the exact wording, because this is one of the things where I have so many different things. Spiked carapace. It's armor spikes. So do you
1d4
understand
damage,
how
I think?
armor spike?
I'm pretty sure it's 1d4 damage is armor spikes. Pathfinder armor spikes.
They take -4 on gravel checks, and
You can also make
it's a
regular
weapon.
melee attack.
It's a
with
weapon,
offhand.
yeah.
Counts as light weapon. I'm pretty sure it's 1d4 damage though.
I looked it up and added it to my sheet, so it is. I put 1d6.
Shit, I clicked the wrong button.
Let me check the weapon chart real quick.
That could be a unique thing. Oh, it is 1d6 for medium. Yep, you are
Cool.
right. It's 1d6.
And I will attack it with 1d6. I'll attack roll it, I assume I have to do. Oh, how do I do a grapple check? Because the grapple check itself is the...
CMBB.
Okay, so
And you
CMB.
are proficient with them as a martial weapon, so you do not suffer the -4 to grapple checks.
Awesome.
Ooh. So you're going to do an opposed grapple check. You got a 16. I mean, you're definitely going to be able to... Because it automatically does damage, correct?
It says on
yeah,
grapple checks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once it automatically does damage. So I'll do my damage.
So I'm gonna roll my I'm gonna roll my grapple check first. This is its grapple check when it's attached. Normally it's way less than this. So you're not able to get it off of you, but more or less you're trying to like move around and maneuver to kind of grab this thing and get it off. But because it's not successful on your grapple check, it automatically does just the offhand weapon, which is the 1d6 damage. So more or less, as you're trying to
Does
get
it
the damn
have
thing off,
the-
you're not able to. So you're just kind of like slamming your back against, the wall or whatever it is that's nearby. Go ahead, sir.
Does it have my strength modifier on it as well?
If it's an offhand weapon, then it would use your strength modifier.
Would it be
cool.
half strength
Okay.
offhand?
No.
Is
That's
it full?
that's if it's a secondary natural attack. It uses half strength.
Okay, so then I'll just do that. Oh, I had to roll the minimum.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal, isn't it?
Oh, that stinks. That does
And you
stink.
rolled on the critical. You rolled 2 6s.
Yeah, of course. I saw the 2 6s, was like, yay! Looked at the thing and was like, fuck you!
That's pretty
I
funny.
still, by the way, can't change the temp thing even when it was not popped out.
I rolled CMB. Oh, you know what it is? Nori's making a good point. When you roll grapple, I always forget. In the old days, you did opposed grapple checks and everything, but Pathfinder streamlined it, and you don't roll opposed grapple checks. You just take the CMD versus your CMB. I was doing CMB versus CMB. Is how it works. Either way, so when it's grappled, its CMD and CMB are enhanced. So it actually has a higher CMD. So you failed, which it still works the same way. You just assume that.
Okay.
Yeah. You just assume that it goes a little bit differently. Either way, so because it gets enhanced by an 8.
So, as a description, what I would imagine is it's like literally the spikes that would normally be on his elbows retract in and shoot out his back into it, but that's not enough to get it off.
Hey, that's actually wicked cool. Like literally, you guys like watch spikes inside this effectively living armor that he has come into himself and then come out the back and are skewering this poor Sturge. Yeah, that Sturge is still alive though. Viggo, it's your turn as you see him kind of like kind of try to get this thing off of himself as it's there. What do you do, sir?
Yeah, so Viggo kind of runs up towards Galen.
Yep.
With his dagger in hand, and he goes to plunge the dagger into Galen's back, into the Sturge, and he's like, might hit Galen. So he at the last thing, he kind of swipes at it as in a slashing motion.
Cuts off the mouthpiece and then
Yep.
gets himself a gallon juice box.
Ew.
All right, so let's see. So with that 14, it doesn't have a with the 14, you actually hit.
Oh, wow. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, it's only a wee buggo, but it's not that wee. 5 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Damn.
So you can go ahead and describe exactly how it is that your character does this.
Thank
So
fuck.
Yep, don't worry, you didn't have a chance of hitting him because its AC is so low from while it's grappled because it drops considerably. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, as he does, he kind of switches his motion with his hand and he just cuts the thing straight in half.
It's like so with precision, with the precision of a surgeon.
Yeah.
Either way, so you easily cut the thing. Don't forget too, sir. I don't know if you're aware of this. I forgot to say this. Sorry. When a creature is grappled, it loses its dexterity bonus to AC. Did you want to apply anything else to that little roll you just did there?
Oh, yeah, sure. Would you like me? Would I be flanking it anyway? Because doesn't that apply?
Well, either way, it's losing its dexterity bonus to AC. Look at that. So actually, what you did was 14 points of damage to the little Sturge of this 5 health point pool. So you kind of come up to it again with precision. You just cut the thing and
it's
kill it.
5 HP and I did 4 damage.
So either way, so you come upstairs, Tristan, to see what the hell's going on up here, and you notice that they very quickly and very precisely were able to kill them. Hey, chat, really quickly, and to you guys as well. If anybody has any spare time and you want to look at throughout the Roll20 marketplace and see if you find tokens that you think would be really cool for these characters, you can go ahead and look for them. If I already own it, awesome, I'll just drag and drop it for their characters. If I don't, I'll go ahead and buy it just because I'm going to use them eventually in the future anyways for the whole pack. And make sure that they have fun tokens for their minis for the game. The artist I tend to lean towards is who is this person? They have a lot of bundles. Who is this artist? Forgotten Adventures is the artist I tend to lean towards, but I certainly don't have to stick with that one artist. It just makes it so a lot of the artwork is consistent. But Roll20 Marketplace, if you happen to find tokens that you think are badass for these characters, mention them if the PCs approve them or if the PCs choose them. If I don't own them, I'll buy them. All right, back to you guys. Tristan, you run upstairs, kind of, with your weapon in hand. I imagine not the lance on a boat, with your weapon in hands to see how it is that you can be of assistance. And you notice, yeah, I know.
8 foot of ash lance, just like you see the tip appear, and then like 20 seconds later, Tristan appears. What's going? No, he would have his little horseman's pick out.
So after you killed that thing and I assume pulled the fucking the proboscis out of his fucking back, Galen would just turn around, just
Thank you. I hate these things already.
Viggo raises an eyebrow at you and he's like, no problem.
Yeah,
and he'll like
get some
reform
side eye from Tristan, like when you speak and it's clearly a different voice. Tristan's like,
he'll reform the blades back onto his arms and just
Let's hope those candles work.
It's funny, as he says that, and you two are spending your additional moments like, okay. You can kind of look about the I'm surprised Tristan has tact. Like,
your compliance is appreciated.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you don't have like words to appropriately describe your reaction to this, so you just get like a funny look.
Honestly, he's probably used to that by now, just from like the various times. I assume that officer is not the first officer to ask to see the abilities, so he's probably gotten a reaction like that before.
So you guys are able to look out beyond the boat, and you can see that there's a good number of sturges immediately there that are kind of like all around and whatnot. It's like, whew, there's a lot of them there. But then it's not like they follow you everywhere you go, and as soon as the candle dies out, they all dive in. It's actually, the candle does work effectively, right? They were lured here by something. They got here. A couple of them were able to puncture through more or less as super locked on and attacked you guys as previously seen. And then again, there was the rest of them kind of like come to the realization, oh, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. And they all kind of buzzed off. So yeah, any point in time, if you're looking out and about, you might see 0, you might see 2 or 3, just because you see 0 doesn't mean there are 0. They might just be like nestled somewhere, but it's not like you have a swarm chasing you as you go, just to be clear about that. All of you, of course, have your potpourri with you to try to reduce the amount of the smell of this, trying to counter the effect of the what's it called? The smell of the candle and how it, in theory, can trigger scrags from kind of being riled up by the smell of the candle. So that being said, I need 2 people in chat to make a roll for me really quickly. Let's see. Anno's kind of a scrag, so we'll have him roll a D100 for that. And let's see, who else happens to be in chat? Is VSword Dancer in chat? If so, VSword Dancer, I want you to go ahead and roll me a D10. Both of these ones, low is bad.
We have plenty of potpourri, don't we?
Yeah. Fucking both below 10.
Wow, that's not good. I think it'd be worth noting that Tristan would have like gone and got an amount of potpourri and put it in Karok's saddlebags.
Oh yeah.
As being a huge hot-blooded beast,
For Steve's sake.
Why you like we didn't insult you? That was all Scott. What you should have done was rolled really high to cuck Scott.
Yeah, that would have been good.
So the 10 out of 10 is pretty awesome. The 10 out of 10 means that there is no chance. It's funny, I almost said V high is bad, but I said nah, both is bad. It was like that thought was there for a moment, just like change it up. But anyways, so low is bad. So there was no you did not get triple E from the mosquito. So Triple E is a very real thing in the United States, and you usually in the area where I live, and usually you don't deal with it in the spring because all the mosquitoes died. But our winters are so mild right now that there's already cases of Triple E this spring, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, they're
Summer
just
falls
going to
into
get
bad.
milder.
yeah. In theory, yes. I'm still hoping.
Here we go in theory.
Well, no, because because
I'm
yeah,
only
it
I'm
fluxes.
only teasing about you denying global warming.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's just a funny meme.
But I really hope we have a harsh winter soon. We need to kill the ticks and mosquitoes so bad. Anyway, so the you got the I just got distracted by that. I'm so sorry. So there's no chance of you catching anything from the sturge that actually latched onto you. You do, of course, still have that -1 Constitution because there's no way for you to easily
Yeah, that's
fix
gonna
that.
fucking suck.
Yeah. You guys are continuing to travel on with this thing kind of burning in the background. I want all of you guys to go ahead and make a perception check for me. Triple E is in 3 E's because it has to do with equine.
I'm a little on edge now.
My horse has a better perception share than me.
Your horse is below deck.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just commenting on how it's definitively better than me in that aspect,
Oh, gotcha.
and many others.
It's actually Gallon that notices that. So Gallon, while you guys are traveling around, again, you make a good amount of distance inside the swamp. You're very effective with your movement because, again, you're going downstream. There's not much wind inside of the swamps because, the trees break up the winds. But the area with the least trees happens to be, hey, look at that, along the actual stream that's there, right? So it almost makes a little bit of a tunneling effect. So it causes the wind to kind of like blow in and it's in your favor. Going into, it's kind of like the gate, it's where everybody checks in but nobody leaves, right? The wind is in your favor, so going to the gate is actually a relatively easy thing to do. The current's in your favor, the wind is in your favor. Two of you take turns. One of you has like this large pole that you use to kind of like guide you through and the other one has a big lance using to guide them through the waters.
I like to imagine we'd maybe have a barge pole, so I don't need to use my nice lens for that.
Yeah. I think we would, yeah.
You just have like a little oar attachment, like you put at the end just to make it work. Anyways, so it looks like a hand. So you guys are making your way through the waters actually pretty rapidly. And because you don't really have a fully fleshed out map because this area was never properly cartographed. And it's not like any of you guys are cartographers yourself. So you just have kind of like, little points of reference that you kind of are looking out for. And Gallon is actually pretty good at spotting that. He's the person that plays those car games when you were a kid and always wins and makes everybody else angry.
He's also probably a little on edge now that he had something ram its nose into his spine.
It doesn't ram its nose into his spine. It slowly and gently places its nose against your flesh and then injects a bunch of hyperbolic needles inside of you. And when you crush the thing and kill it...
Hyperbolic needles? Oh no, they sound so much worse than they are.
And then you have to have poor Viggo going over there with a pair of rudimentary tweezers, grabbing each one of the little noses it has and pulling them out. If you actually
very slight aside here, you should look at hypodermic needles under a microscope, and you see them, and they're like beautifully sharp. And then you see them once they're used, and like the tip is bent, and you see like obviously certain people will reuse hypodermic needles. And you can see that as they're reused, the beautiful chamfer goes from being like this to like going like hooks. It turns all the way to be hooked because it's so fine.
Yep. But or you can watch the videos of mosquitoes actually stabbing into you, and you watch how more or less literally it just like injects a whole bunch of things that just kind of like literally search around inside of you until eventually it finds the actual like blood vessel, and then like it's so freaky. It makes you like super like freaked out by every bug bite you get.
I'm sorry to anyone in chat who has something like has an issue with needles because I don't, and that was still too much for me.
Yeah. So gross. Anyways, Anyways, let's get to the game. So the brain's not working. So you looking off the backside of the boat, just kind of like doing your rounds, and like it's their turn to do the rowing bit. So you actually imagine that it's Tristan is doing a bit of rowing, and what's his name there? Timmy is doing a bit of the oaring as well, giving Viggo and you a moment to kind of like look about. Viggo looking out front, not noticing any issues there, but it's actually Gallon that's looking out back. There are many different creatures that live inside of a swamp. Yeah, certainly gators is one of... Wait, gators or crocodiles? Which one live inside, like, swamps?
Both are capable of living in fresh water.
Okay.
Typically, alligators are the ones that live in the Everglades, is it?
Yeah, I
Down
would
in
say
Florida?
gator.
That's
would be
typically
more
a
likely.
gator because it's a smaller creature.
What do you guys have in Australia?
Saltwater crocodiles. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that
gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Well, you know,
You
again...
launch their entire body length out of the water straight up, and you're like,
So
no.
remember, we are in the southern hemisphere continent, and you are in the swamps here. So, crocs.
Oh, good.
So you see, because I think crocs are larger too, right? So I either because alligators are the A-frame and crocs are the U. Yeah.
Yeah,
So anyway,
they have a different jaw structure.
yeah. So crocs. So it's one of those things where you look off the side of the boat and you think you see crocs are swimming behind the boat and kind of following it. And while your character has no experience with crocodiles, you're not an idiot. You've seen them. You've seen things along the shore before, and you guys probably pointed it out. Actually, I imagine that it was what's his name there, Tristan, that had a degree of knowledge about the crocs themselves, even though he doesn't have an educational degree about them. He was told a couple of details, like might want to watch out for them lot. You know what I mean? That sort of a thing. And so you can kind of like identify what that is, even if you don't like have an education as to what they are. And so you see this like movement behind the actual boat, not immediately behind, a good distance back. The reason why it takes a high DC to notice it is because it's like we're talking about a good 100 feet back behind the boat. You're in a bit of a straightaway, and you're like, huh, there's a wake back there that has nothing to do with the boat. And you kind of realize something is swimming in the water, almost like tailing us. At first, you saw it a while ago and you didn't think anything of it, but it seems like it's been going on for a bit of time.
He would move around to the front, like he doesn't want to yell just in case something else is nearby that's listening. So he'll move around to the front.
We've got something following us under the water. I think possibly some sort of crocodile. It's been following us for quite a bit. It's leaving its own wake in the water.
Why don't you go ahead, Jake and Neil can go ahead and roll me a knowledge nature check. Just because I know Tesh isn't educated in that. Jake, I don't know if you are. I think you are.
Oh, Virgil might be able to.
Neil, because of your background, obviously.
Oh, Virgil can. So
Technically, I am not trained in nature, FYI.
Yeah, but again,
Virgil is useless.
Something as simple as this, I'm allowing because it just makes sense for your. Virgil knows nothing. So it's actually both of you guys, both Viggo and Tristan, that would be able to say, up to you guys to who speaks, that typically speaking, crocs aren't going to move fast enough. They tend to move very slow. They typically don't move fast enough to cause a wake to appear behind them. That's probably something that's swimming faster than a crocodile is, because crocodile is going to do like a very slow and steady movement up on something. So this is something swimming faster.
That's unpleasant.
The crocodiles swimming faster, you said?
Well, crocs don't tend to swim that fast.
Oh, okay.
Did you see Discord?
No. Where?
Okay.
Me, I'm leaving in 3.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, you're fine.
2.
Yeah, just. Oh yeah.
Do scrags, from what I've read about them, do they move fast underwater?
Scrags are aquatic. So yeah, they definitely can move quickly underwater. Actually, move quicker underwater than they do on land.
Could be a scrag. Is it getting like closer to us?
Toss you a quick look back there because you're the one that has kind of like a bead on it. It seems like it's still 100 feet away. But again, wind is in
Still
your
about
favor.
100 feet away.
Wind is in your favor. Current's in your favor. You guys are pretty good at not scraping against anything to get kind of mired up. Maybe if you started oaring as well, if you do it the right way, you could actually increase your speed. Fun fact, if you're oaring while you have a current and wind in your favor, the wrong way, you can actually screw up your flow and move slower. So,
Well, wind's behind us, so it probably can't smell any honeysuckle. What if we tossed some in behind us, if it is a scrag?
Could be worth a shot.
Sure.
You said they don't like it.
I'd rather keep it close to us, but we do have an abundance.
Could we perhaps tie a bit to the back of the boat, almost like trace the water with it?
oh, like a tea bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's honestly a fair shout. I'm leaving now, guys. Bye. But I like the teabag idea. I endorse teabagging. Bye.
Bye.
I gotta remember how to make it so that other participants can show their cameras again.
Up the top, total non-video participants.
Wait,
One.
allow participants to. Where is it?
Up the very top of the window.
Yeah.
Show non-video participants.
Oh, yep. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
No worries. I checked earlier just to make sure it was a quick transfer.
There you go. Cool. Back to you guys. So so you imagine Tristan starts immediately like walking backwards, 2 thumbs up, saying, "I endorse teabagging," and then like walks below deck to grab the next burlap sack of the stuff.
I mean, we can give it a try. I don't want to use too much though, because we need it.
I agree, but if these things are aquatic, it might be worth it. Just
Actually, I don't know if I would know if scent travels further underwater.
I imagine your character doesn't have that kind of That's some
Yeah.
high education
I'm
knowledge.
just thinking it's behind us, so
Yeah, it'll swim
Clearly.
into the wake of what it is that you're doing. Correct.
yeah.
Yep. So Tristan walks downstairs, 2 things up. I endorse teabagging. Goes down there, grabs fistfuls of the leaves, and starts throwing them inside there. The potpourri and starts throwing it inside there. Tristan's again. He's been spending a considerable amount of time on a boat. He's actually pretty good at like tying up a knot to make sure that this thing isn't going to easily slip out. Whatever it is goes off to the side, and
I would obviously take up his job doing the
the
pole.
oaring. Yep.
Yeah.
And then him and Viggo can kind of like, slowly, lower it in, kind of grabbing a stick to make sure that kind of like really dunks in and tying it off at the back of the ship, at the back of the boat, but like making sure it's like a short length. So it's like really drawn pretty close behind the boat, not like hanging way back or anything like that, to allow that to happen. Cool. It's actually a really good chance that this is effective. That was actually a brilliant idea. As to the effectiveness of this, why don't each of you choose a person to roll a D100 and we take the better result? Chat fails
Green.
you every time, by the way.
You know what?
Help us out, Green.
Okay.
I'm going to choose Steve because I loved the.
Assuming direct control.
Yeah. God, I really want to do a Mass Effect game. It's been so many years since I did my last Mass Effect game. Tesh, you weren't a part of one of those, were you?
No, but I would fucking love to be. I love
Yeah.
Mass Effect.
Well, you chose Steve. Ah! You chose the right man for the job. A scrag shall not eat this day. Oh, that's
Thank you,
amazing. Oh my God, that's amazing. All right, so you guys put that in the water, and
Feast and famine, yeah.
you travel like a good 50, 60 feet. It traveling 50, 60 feet behind you as well, and almost immediately you can see a little bit of a splash happening back there, and then like you could see that as you continue to pull away, the movement. It goes forward a little bit further. You just like squinting out trying to see, because again it just barely crests the water the same way like a crocodile does, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't see what it is. I just see like a lump on the water, and that's all.
Correct. Yeah.
Almost like the surface tension just moving a little bit.
Well, no, you even saw like a little bit of a spray, like a little bit of a splashes, and immediately it reacted to it. And then again, there's some bit there. And as you pull further away, you can see that you can just barely get a 28. So you can just barely make out that it looks as though it turned and swam the opposite direction.
Okay, it looks like that worked. It's swimming away. Good job.
Interesting. Viggo will whip out his notebook and he'll start writing stuff in it.
Beautiful.
That's a very useful thing to teach others as well. The idea of like dragging it behind the boat.
That's why I'm writing it down.
Yeah.
And I imagine you leave the tea bag inside the water for a little while, but you don't want to leave it there for too long.
Yeah.
So you leave it there for a little bit, so you know that maybe a good 10 minutes later, whatever it is, so you feel as though you're properly safe, and then you pull it back out. And at this point, it's not like you want to wring out the tea bags. You don't want to take the flavor or whatever it is out of the leaves, right? You might even want to just take them and try to fan them out and allow them to dry, so maybe reabsorb some of the whatever it is, particles that might be inside the actual water back into them. So they have just like, it's like reusing a tea bag. Always free. I don't know about you guys, but somebody that like I see them use a tea bag and drink a cup of tea, but then they put more water over the same tea bag. I'm like, there ain't no flavor in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, not exactly, Anna. We're gonna do next one because of how short this one's gonna be. Sorry, we're gonna do an extra one because of how short
we
this
had
one
a
is.
half first section, and we're having a short one this time, so
Yeah.
2 episodes technically.
Yeah. So just to be fair to them. So by the way, you guys are making your way further into the swamps, and actually have a pretty safe time getting the rest of the way there. Yeah, eventually the candle burns out. As you can imagine, it would. But the candle burning out shouldn't be too big of a deal. You've been able to come up with, the typical tactics that one uses to protect against sturges. You know what I mean? You're all making sure they put on your heavier clothing. It's hot as balls out here, but by putting on the heavier clothing, reduce it. Like by putting on the more layers, you're reducing like how easy it is for the sturges to kind of like identify where you are. You'll have 2 people above deck to make sure that you can actually see the, kind of like push around the boats or whatever. But at the same time, you have the horse and the other 2 below deck, so you have less targets that the sturges might see. Anything that you can to try to reduce the effectiveness. And it's not like you're the only food here. Sturges are always looking around for the natives to the swamp to find their food. It's very unlikely that they are going to approach you and hit you again. I'll allow Tesh to choose somebody to roll a D1000. And if they roll under a 50, the sturges will bother you again before you get there.
Look. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go with Alpaca Lunch. He's someone from my chat. I see him in chat there. Hopefully, he's still here.
Exclamation point D1000 enter. All right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so you guys are traveling your way along, and overall, it's a pretty decent trek there. Once you get to the swamp, because of how in the favor. By the way, do you choose to do additional oaring to go quicker or no?
Do
I
we
would
want to
not
risk
be.
it? Because I'd say no, because we're going fine now, and we don't want to mess it up.
Okay.
We'd have to do good oaring.
What was I saying? My apologies. So you guys are making your way along, and it seems as though the whole trek from A to B, from actually entering into the swamp and being able to get to the gate, that's actually with things as in your favor as they are.
They're not here anymore.
That's fine. Choose somebody else.
In that case, I choose Anno. after that comment.
So you sloppy seconds, Anno. That's it. Anno. I always think of Anno as just sloppy seconds. So, then you will. What was I saying? The whole trek to get from A to B takes you, because of how much navigation you have to do. It's going to be a better part of a day. We're talking almost an entire day. And because on the water you never stop, I mean like 24-hour day, not like 8-hour travel day.
Yeah.
So it takes you about 20 hours to get there. So when you kind of come into the swamp, it's almost about noontime by the time you finally get there from the day beforehand, and you're showing up shortly after morning started the next day, like mid-morning. The next day, rolling up to the actual the gate itself. Most of the viewers have seen the gate, but to paint the picture again, because I don't think necessarily UPCs know it, and also slight changes. Rolling up to the gate itself. So the gate is comprised of stone. It actually looks like a keep built into the swamp out of stone. However, it's not like it's immediately accessible. First and foremost, it's a fair portion of it is completely hidden behind the dropping vines, the canopy of leaves that also come down as well. Just the different flora that happens to be there hides it from view very, very, very well. Despite the fact that it's very hidden from view, there's actually people outside of the gate. You can see they look to be, the way that they're dressed and whatnot, you expect that they're probably prisoners of the gate that are standing on the walls of it with like machetes and seeming like machetes and sticks, like glaives, that are chopping away at vines that are trying to like crawl up or come to it, try to make sure there's a bit of a gap between the actual nature and the walls, the edge themselves. You can see them up there doing this almost pruning or gardening out there to keep it at bay. It's just the gap of how densely grown the actual woods and whatnot are from where you are and where the walls are, make it so it's pretty obscured, pretty hidden from view. The way into the gate, actually, there is no way to get to the gate as it is by land. You would have to use some sort of boat or whatnot to get up to it. But the boat that you're on, from where you can actually see the gate of Magadan, it's too small to allow a boat this large to go in. So whatever you have with you would have to be moved on to almost like rafts or smaller boats to be able to be brought into it.
I imagine they have plans for what to do with that, because they would have been expecting us and the supplies.
Correct. Actually, so the turn that would lead out to where it is that you would be taking rafts into the gate itself, and where the actual stream comes in, you can see that they've at some point in time dug out and keep almost like a kind of like a mill pond sort of area, like a little bit of a pond that they've created, and it's a big, has like an arm in and an arm out, but it's like a big almost circular. It's hard to maintain a proper circle and conditions like this, right? But like an almost circular design where the boat can kind of come in, almost like dock up right there. They can move the supplies over and onto the rafts, and then it can kind of come back out and go up the stream that it came from. At this point in time, you're going to be going against the stream. Because sometimes the streams are a little bit stronger, you actually see that they have like rope sections and anchor points for those rope sections as you're coming into this to really help tie onto it, so people on shore can actually grab the ropes and help to turn and manipulate, so that things are done with a bit more control, a bit more of a steadiness here. Funny enough, as they're going to do that for you, you can see that even while you're like, wow, that's kind of brilliant, utilizing the safety and the steadiness of land versus the kind of chaotic nature of running water to steady the boats is actually kind of smart. Until you see the soldiers that are out there or the workers that are out there doing this, their boots are sinking into the mud, you know what I mean, as they're pulling. Like sometimes they'll kind of like topple to the side and just get completely covered in mud. It is not an easy job to be done. Again, it's almost like the terrain itself wants to see you fail. It's absolutely miserable.
I mean, that's the reason why this place is built here, so that makes sense.
Yeah. And it's also, to cap it all off, everything as I've described to you, it's not like it's incredibly well maintained. This isn't supposed to be like some high functioning city with a lot of people coming and going. So they maintain it, but it's like one of those, it's maintaining it like your neighbor's, backyard. Like, yeah, they cut the grass occasionally.
Every time they get word that someone's coming, they're like, oh, fuck it. Okay, let's clear it up.
So either way, no, he's still inside the armor.
Yeah, I can, the skin I can have on permanently. I get no negatives for even resting in it.
So you, actually, I don't think you can maintain it while you're unconscious, can you?
Not unconscious.
So resting would be.
I actually don't know if it says so. Let me quickly read up on whether it stays on if I'm unconscious. But resting, I can. It specifically has a thing that it counts as psychoactive skin.
I'm almost positive you can't maintain it while unconscious, so therefore it wouldn't be there while you were sleeping. But it would be that as soon as you woke up, it's a swift action or whatever to activate, so it wouldn't matter.
Well, I know that I have a modification that's specifically so I can have it on while resting.
You might have that. But while he's looking.
Yeah.
So either way, because it's not pertinent right now.
It says flexible suit may also sleep in the astral suit without becoming fatigued. So if he was not already able to do so, such as in astral skin. So astral skin, I'm already able to sleep in it without becoming fatigued. So apparently I can sleep in it.
Oh, okay. Because I thought I remember what's his name, Dave's character before being knocked out and losing his armor. But go back like 2 years now. It might be
a case of because it's a suit. It acts like a psychoactive skin, but it's not a psychoactive skin. It might be that I create it and dismiss it.
No, I was just
than
more thinking like
maintain it.
Most class features that require a degree of like maintenance, like mental maintenance.
I'll do a little googling and see what people say.
And you very well could be correct. So, but either way, moving on. So that's kind of like what you notice, kind of rolling up to the place and seeing this here, seeing the workers up there doing that. These people out here. As soon as like it's seen that you're coming. By the way, there's nobody out here waiting for you. So it's after you come here and you're kind of calling out like hello, and you kind of like you see like the workers that are up on the wall kind of calling over to whoever their foreman is, the foreman kind of calling down. Eventually, people come over, and while you're still sitting, it's kind of floating in that pool, jostled about a bit by the water kind of coming in and immediately slowing down against like the walls to the sides, like rippling and whatnot. As you're sitting there and kind of like dealing with just floating about in the pool. Eventually the workers kind of like as they come out of the gate. It's like a good hour and a half later, and then eventually they come over and are able to help you out. But what are the other things that you're going to notice while you're waiting for this to happen again? The people sinking in to do it is perception checks to see who really notices the work happening off to the side. I'll roll for Tristan once again just to make it nice and easy.
Feast and famine.
Well, okay. So it's actually Viggo once again being the most perceptive amongst you guys. Just like he's just on point. He's the commanding officer too. So Tristan and Gallo notice nothing, but Viggo, you have to see like through the actual around the side through the woods. You can actually see there's a good amount of movement over there. So like and you actually notice this while waiting for people to even come out and start pulling the ropes to set you guys up correctly. There's a good amount of movement over here. You actually pretty sure you hear an occasional like shout, not like of like pain or anguish, but like almost like a shout of giving orders around the corner, like around the side. You see a bit of movement happening over there too. Seems as though they're working on some sort of project off to the side. You don't know what it is though. And again, this is not the front of the actual keep. It's almost like the side of the keep is where they're going to. Either way, that being said, actually, you can also see that now that you notice that, you're kind of like looking back there and you're looking where you are. You can also see that the pool where you are, you swear there's a bunch of sticks. Like, as you can imagine, like falling inside of the bottom of a swamp. Anyways, there's a whole bunch of stuff sticking out, but it almost looks like there's strategically placed sticks. Kind of like not like form sticks, not like their uniform, but strategically placed, kind of like going out from the pool area and around the corner. Anyways, eventually the people come over, they pull the ropes, they get pulled up onto the shore, and somebody that would kind of seemingly be in charge of what's going on at the moment would come to greet you. They weren't here initially as you were being pulled ashore, but they are now. So as they come to greet you, they actually have a few soldiers with them. And to be clear, the soldiers they have with them have crossbows out, kind of like latched back, bolts placed. They're not aimed at you, but they're also not exactly aimed down either, right? There's kind of at that readied position, ready to aim if they're told, ready, aim, that sort of a situation. Yeah. So the person walks up to you. He looks as though he's very dour, very, very dour individual. Funny enough, not funny enough, but maybe a little bit to your surprise, they're Hobgoblin in race. and they're probably a little bit older, maybe like in their 40s, and they just kind of come up to you with these heavy mutton chops, little tips of graying happening throughout it. Their deep red skin, and they just, again, look very upset. Looking at you, and they say, "Who sent you?"
I'd step forward. I do the parent salute, and I say, "We were sent from. Was it the Dwin here?
You would call them the River King.
The River King. Sent from the River King with supplies."
Oh, supplies then. Are you looking to spend some time here in relaxation before you leave, or are you looking to leave immediately?
We had orders to help defend a dig or something, didn't we? Just double checking. I can't.
You are.
Sorry,
Yeah,
no, that's me.
I was gonna ask the same thing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So you kind of mentioned. So you mentioning that almost like your CO. It's orders to, and he kind of like listening to you say that. He looks at you and says, "Oh, you're that lot."
To be accurate, Gallon wouldn't be saying anything because he's now
gotcha.
officially sticking in the suit for the whole time, sort of thing.
Jake rewrite canon. Go ahead.
No. I was asking out of character.
So
like,
in game, what would you
orders
say?
were.
Oh yeah, you would say that.
So our orders were to defend the dig. That's what we were doing. I can't remember.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No. He would just say, "We've been ordered to defend the dig."
And he says, "Oh, you're that lot. Well, let's get the supplies put on rafts, and we'll bring you over to the dig." And then this is where Timmy would come over and be like, "I've actually been told to collect a raft that is fast moving in going downstream myself, a stream cutter, and that I'm supposed to start heading back myself to deliver reports to the River King." And they look at you and they say, "You were told to take one of our stream cutters." And he would actually produce like a letter and would hand it over to him, kind of crack it open, read it, and says, "Fine." Kind of gives orders to somebody else nearby to give him a kind of like a specialized designed raft to go over and immediately start heading back. Timmy would go to the three of you and say, "Well, thanks for keeping me safe. Hopefully things work out for me." He looks at you kind of like a little bit afraid.
Gallon not wanting to like speak up in front of everyone, he would just give him a nod, sort of like the classic sort of respectful nod.
Viggo, with your really high perception check before you say anything, even though you have your own stuff on you that has its odor, you can actually smell. It seems as though he's taken some potpourri with him as well.
Viggo looks annoyed and he's like, "Very well. Good luck. If you wouldn't mind in your report mentioning the treatment we've been receiving along the river."
That's my job. Come here.
Then he'll give him a salute and
Gallon would join
more or
him.
less dismiss him.
Yep. So you dismiss him. I've talked about this a bunch of times beforehand. Kitty, really quick, because this is a shorter session today. I literally utilize Roll20. I pull it in. Here, let me just kind of like do this real quick. I make. Hold on. Why are you not doing this? There you go. I make the entire background a single color. It's usually a light gray color. It's not being offensive to the PCs, including the actual background of it, as well as the cross section, the grid is all one light gray color. And then I green screen effect off or chroma key off the that one color. Then whenever they roll the dice, you can just see that the dice appears on the overlay and not that. So the only thing is, if you happen to choose, if your die color is that light gray, you won't be able to notice it, but you can kind of see, it allows for, pinging effects to happen on the overlay as well, like this, or if you like drag and drop, you can clearly see it's changing the color from that light gray. So you can, anyways, back to the game. So he says, that's my job. And so he'll go over and grab this kind of like specialized designed raft that's meant to like literally cut through the stream significantly better. Oh yeah, it rolls between those, so you literally just cut those off. So when you're using OBS or slobs, whatever it is, if you press Alt, you grab one of the sides, drag over, it kind of crops off those sides for you.
He has a different window capturing the dice than the window that's capturing the chat log. That I think that would explain it better.
Yeah, sorry. So I actually have two profiles open right now. I have the Roll20 that I pay for, and that's like under my personal email account. Then I have a separate Roll20 that I don't pay for, but is invited to all my games called Daelric Review. And I utilize that one, and I actually open up a separate window, so you can actually look over here. I literally just removed out the chat log, so it's not there. So all this stuff might be here, these other options, but the chat log is not. So I just kind of like crop out all that. Then I have the chat log separated. And those are two different things, kind of a browser source pulled into it. All right, back to the game. He's kind of grabs up the specialized ship and is able to. It's actually genuinely surprising how this works. I mean, whatever this design is, it literally cuts through the stream at about the same rate that you guys were coming in here, utilizing the stream to your benefit and the wind to your benefit. It starts cutting through, and it's so small that you can't really fit many people. You're looking at it, you're like, 3 people maybe can be on that thing. You know what I mean? I think if you don't mind being close to one another for a long period of time, 3 people can fit on that. But it's meant to be, and he's only one.
That's like we are hugging for the journey close.
Yeah, it's rather difficult, right? So either way, you guys are unloading all of your stuff, and as you're kind of like they're unloading the stuff for you, you guys are going to be climbing off of the boats and getting the horse out from below deck and onto the actual stable land. At this point, you're going to be walking through the muck, and it's one of those things where
am I glad I have the astral suit on for this.
Yeah, every step is like a happening for you, right? So anyways, as you're walking through, you can kind of like feel this, and it's so annoying. It literally, like, you can feel your thighs, your quads, everything like that kind of like burning as you're just trying to walk around the side. What you can see is around the side, there's a double digging effort going on. You can see literally alongside the wall, like immediately adjacent to the wall, they've cut down every tree that's over there, that's around the site where they're working. They've cut them down. They've started burning along its the trees down and whatnot, so they don't kind of grow back. You can see kind of like the charring and everything that's there to make that work. You can see the amount that they've cut down and back is smaller and smaller and smaller as you move away immediately from the wall. And you can see that they've actually have, again, we were talking beforehand about rudimentary cranes, one kind of coming off of the side of the wall that's there and lowering down, and it seems to have like a giant bucket that's being lowered down to kind of like dig dirt into or slop into to lift it and kind of like crane it up, move it over, and then lower it down and dump the bucket off to the side, right? And so they're doing this to kind of crane down, almost like they're trying to dig alongside the wall. But then the secondary effort is not immediately against the wall, but more of a superficial design. You can see that they're trying to trench out away from the area where they're digging down, and it looks like they're back trenching, so they're not cutting to the water too soon. They're back trenching over towards where the actual area is. And it's to this moment where it's Viggo, who was the only one that noticed the kind of like spikes in the ground before, the sticks in the ground before, realizes, oh, this is the path that they're taking to get the water around that bend. Now, your character is disgustingly intelligent with your plus 19, so you can go ahead and roll me an engineering check if you have at least 1 rank in it.
Engineering, I do not.
Okay, then you're not going to be
no ranks. Nope.
So you wouldn't be able to realize kind of like A and B. The other two don't know haven't noticed enough to make a roll either. So you're kind of like leading around this.
Virgil has +1.
but didn't recognize. Yeah. So so you can see they're doing kind of this dual effort, digging out the trench from here back and digging down into that one spot that's there. And so they're kind of like going about this. As you're making your way around that area, you're able to see that there's a couple of foremen that are kind of calling out for what needs to be done. You notice a few different details. First and foremost, the workers that are working are all dressed exactly the same.
Are they dressed Like prisoners?
Yep. And secondly, you can see the foremen, if we'll call them that, are none too kind in handling the workers.
Well, you know what? Galen would imagine that these people must be pretty interesting people to have been put in a place like this. So he's just going to try and ignore that.
Oh, I wonder if Hanging Kitty is still here and whether or not I should tell them about the accelerated. Turning off the accelerated part.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Which is why I use Firefox. It's fine. So, anyways, continuing. So the you
they can
notice
ask in
that
Discord if they are still here. They can ask in Discord and see if someone will help.
So have Vigil for entirely different things noticed. Have them roll a what's the word I'm looking for? Engineering check. Can Vigil speak to you or just share emotions?
Telepathically speak to me,
Okay.
not to anyone else.
Wasn't sure.
Yet.
Okay.
And that's +1 because it adds half his level, and his level. We're level 3, so.
Yep, half your level. Yep. So either way, so looking at it, looking down, Vigil actually is able to kind of say to you, Vigil's personality traits are
heroic and meticulous.
Oh, so you think, well, you kind of like hearing in your head, well, that's not very well designed. Look at that. You need to have additional scaffolding going down the side to stop against any additional leaking, or if there's any amount of rainfall that's happening, and you can imagine with these conditions, they would definitely continue working through rainfall. They could easily be a mudslide. Look how deep into it they're working. Look how it is at their positions. Their legs are a quarter way underneath the mud. They would not be able to, or underneath the dirt. They would not be able to get out in time. They'd be buried in there, drowned.
Okay. So Ilan would be sort of listening. I don't know if he would actually really respond so much as just sort of take it in the information, because he doesn't want to speak up too much at the moment because of, even if he can talk to Virgil telepathically, he doesn't have a response to Virgil, and he doesn't want to tell anyone anything because he doesn't want to speak up yet. He doesn't want to have to use his voice if he doesn't have to. That's like an extra layer on the whole hiding the Cynox.
Awesome. So you say nothing and you just kind of look at it. It's just kind of like,
he would get a feeling of like disapproval, like as in like not disapproval towards Virgil, towards the actions, but nothing more, because it's telepathic. He can get the feeling.
when you don't immediately say anything when it's brought to your attention, you can feel from Virgil. You can feel the kind of like a ping of disappointment, not necessarily towards you, just towards the situation.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I was trying to sort of convey. He would be giving to Virgil as well. That sort of the disapproval of the situation, not of him.
Yep, I can imagine at one point in time, as you later on, let's say several minutes away, whatever it is, however this plays out, if you're happen to lean over and look down, getting a better view. I'm not sure exactly where you keep Virgil on you, but so Virgil would also get a better view. You could actually hear.
Virgil doesn't need eyes to see. He just sort of sees through psionics. That's part of the way that.
No. Yeah, I'm just not sure where it is that it is on you.
He's in the suit. He's in the chest of the suit right now.
Oh, that's right. He's literally built into it. That's right. So I imagine that once again that we kind of lean over so you can see a little bit.
I guess I didn't describe that. Yeah, now, when he builds the suit, the crystal that you saw before, the Psi Crystal Virgil, is actually built into the chest of the suit permanently while he's got the suit on.
It'll actually stay inside your mind, and because when you're wearing the suit, it's not just a ping in your mind. It almost you can hear
part
it.
Of me,
yeah, because no, it's just it's because you have the crystal around you. It can just vibrate your eardrums so you can hear it.
Oh yeah.
Whereas normally it's just it doesn't have a voice. It's just you hear thoughts in your head, right? There's no voice to the thoughts in your head. When you're wearing the suit, you can feel the vibrations giving it a
Yeah, I know. That was my reaction.
Instead of you pooping in the suit poops in you.
Anyway, moving on.
The vibrations allow you to actually hear its true voice, right? Anyways,
Yeah.
So you would hear it say the words, "People are people," and that's kind of like what you would hear it say. Anyways, so back to the moment. As you guys are approaching, you can actually see the different whatchamacallits there. But also, again, going with the last moments, going with that really high perception, it's actually Viggo who notices first that, based off the way that they're dressed, so on and so forth, you see the warden there. The warden is actually here on the ground, not the wall, overseeing part of the project as you're arriving.
I'll say he has not acknowledged us at all.
Not immediately, no.
Yeah, I will keep that to myself for the moment.
If we ever get a point to like where we're not with people around us,
that's actually going to happen in just 1 second. So you actually,
Okay,
the person
cool.
that was kind of like leading you over, the hobgoblin that was bringing you over here, as the workers back there were handling their responsibility, they would say, "Wait here," and then they would just turn and walk off to the warden, because clearly they don't want to be the person that's delivering errands and whatnot. But anyway, so they would come over and inform the warden of your arrival. You can literally see them walk probably good like 100 and change feet away from where you are, only like a good 40 meters from where you are, and walk over to where the warden is, and they have like a brief conversation where you see the warden kind of like look over their shoulder at the two of you, and then the warden will give it like a firm nod. So he's including walking through the muck over there, speaking to the warden, and then returning. That you can actually get the impression that, well, actually it's pretty easy. The ground over here is pretty dry because how they kind of like cut things back. So it's actually pretty dry and firm over here. So not too difficult. Come back. It gives you guys probably about a good 2 minutes or so of alone time. So go ahead.
I'm actually rethinking. I don't think Galen would say anything at this stage, because at this stage it's still a superior officer that he's with. Yeah, he was gonna talk about the things, but I don't think he would.
And Viggo, not Viggo, sorry, Tristan would just kind of sit there and be petting the horse and being like, "That's right, just be steady, we're fine." You know, kind of.
Yeah, the poor horse. Oh, God.
The tail is constantly going, flaunting off mosquitoes.
Actually, you know what? Galen would actually say at some stage, just
If there's any sign of rain or cloud cover, try to get clear of the mud.
Will do. Thanks, Galen. It's a bit strange the warden is out here supervising himself. Interesting. He's as much talking to himself as you'll notice.
With this many prisoners out and about, though I guess they're not too afraid of them running, it might just be as an intimidation tactic.
Well, it's certainly working on me.
Galen stifles a laugh.
What does that sound like? Turn on the voice mod.
Oh.
How does that sound? How does laughing sound with that? It's weird.
I haven't listened to myself laugh with that yet, so that'll be interesting.
You gotta put it on and do like a mwahaha. All right. So eventually they come over and they look at you, and they don't even stop to address you. As they're walking past, the warden will see you, and then they just walk past you to head back to where it is that they're going.
Okay.
Tristan will give the horse like a firm pat on the butt. This is more squishing a mosquito that was trying to have a feast there, and we'll say, "Pleasant lot."
Indeed.
And you
So are we expected to walk
Yep,
up to the
you'll walk
warden?
up to the warden. Mm-hmm. So as you guys go walking up towards the warden to see them, it's when you kind of like half the distance, which I said was like, a good like 40 meters. When you're about like maybe 18, 20 meters away, that's when they actually turn to like actually look towards you, giving you like a bit of a nod, letting you know that they know that you're approaching them. Look back to what they're doing for a moment, and as you like finish your approach, they'll turn to regard you and say, names and ranks.
Viggo Medahina, battle tactician, I think is my rank. Let me double check. Yeah.
Yeah, well, can't avoid talking now, so.
Gallon interval. Excellent.
He looks at you with a bit of a raised eyebrow, but like almost kind of like picking up the cue, because as dumb as he is, he's not unwise. Tristan immediately goes like, as soon as you say excellent, he almost cutting you off.
Yeah,
Says,
which is good.
Yeah, I gotta see how to say his last name
Oh,
again.
it's also very much like Gallon would be staring at him like, just leave it.
I get so like again, almost like cutting you off. Tristan Darum, champion, and then he would also pat his horse here and say, and River Guard to the River King, just to make sure, like kind of like stating significance as well. To kind of stand up because he is the lowest ranking person here. And I don't know if you kind of immediately speak afterwards, Jake, or if you allow the warden to go first.
He asked for name and rank. I gave him name and rank. I would probably just state as well after Tristan. We were sent by the River King to deliver supplies and guard the dig.
So because you guys kind of like toppled on top of his speaking, he actually just lets it drop because it'd be too awkward to kind of like go back to that point right now. So he does look at the three of you and says, yes, we might need a little additional aid in handling the dig. We have most of our soldiers working more as taskmasters to see to it that the dig is done rapidly. It's a dangerous work that we have going on here, and we want to make sure that we're able to get through it without losing any life at all, if possible. You guys can go ahead and roll a sense motive.
Yep. I was going to ask you anyway, so that
The
works.
DC is not low. Oh, I have to roll for Tristan, sorry. I don't think he's good at this anyways, but I'll roll.
Rolled a 10 and got a 19. It's I feel weird rolling high on these rolls after playing Illin.
So it's Gallon. Gallon, you get the impression, though you don't know, you get the impression maybe life has already been lost, but you're getting that impression more from what you already can think of how they're treating that situation down there.
I was about to say it's more like a compounding on what he's already seen. Because he saw that, he's probably picking up on the little detail of the way he said it.
Correct, exactly. Without any life having been lost. And then he looks at you and says, we're going to need additional guard. There's been activity in the swamp as of late, and we're hoping that you would investigate it to make sure that things will continue safely.
Has there been a report of what is around?
Yes and no. What's reported doesn't make sense.
Interesting.
I
wouldn't say that myself. This is
he doesn't. He just stops at that. Viggo
Gallon
would
does
say,
the head tilt.
He says, "How so, sir?"
We don't do too terribly. We don't do a ton of exploring around Magadan itself because it's pretty self-contained. You don't want to go too far beyond the safety of its walls or along the river. Every step you take is the furthest I've ever gone from the Shire. Now, every step I take is every step you take is greater and greater danger.
Every move you make.
Exponentially. Exponentially. But there have been previous expeditions that have noticed things in the area. More importantly, there is a statue garden that exists not too far from here. It's hard to mark distance when you travel so slowly. It's a sluggish movement, but it seems like perhaps about a mile outside of the gate. A mile is probably a fairly accurate distance. Is where there's a statue garden that exists. A good number of statues from a time long in the past that have been there. Either way, the reports are that, as far as people have said, it's these statues that have caused a bit of trouble for us as of late. Of course, anybody that reports this simply reports what they've seen off in the distance, in the darkness, moving beyond where one can actually see. There have been deaths from this matter.
At the mention of statues killing people, it sparks Viggo's interest. You could probably noticeably see it within him, and he's like, "Those that are lost, injuries? What were they?
Not found.
Not found. Companions of theirs made it back, reported them."
Yes, and again, very little could be said or seen as they seem to attack the least, those that were the most separated from the group. I might suggest using a tactic of staying as close together as possible.
Yes, makes sense. Is there any way we could speak to any of the expeditions, especially those that lost a member?
I've just given you a recount of the reports.
Yes, sir.
Do you need time to rest after your travel? I can imagine sitting on a boat is rather exhausting.
If you would afford us a few moments, we did have the odd sturge attack as nothing we couldn't handle. Scrags we witnessed, but we're lucky enough not to come into direct contact with.
He nods and says, "You saw them without them attacking you?"
Yes, sir.
I want a full report of that.
Of course, sir. I have it written down. I would give it to you away from, and he, Viggo, just motions around.
He nods and says, "I imagine it's preserved." Like, more or less referencing the fact that this is a bad place to give it to you, as it's just going to get ruined in the muck. So I imagine it's preserved. Like,
yes.
Like,
yeah.
He just nods, more or less saying, "Okay, make me a copy later."
Yep.
And then he'll gesture to the side and say, "There's a resting area over there for the workers that need to catch their breath. You can take your time over there. Rest as needed. When you're, I'll have someone come over and inform you of the direction, the easiest path to get to where it is that this statue garden happens to be."
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm. And you guys can kind of look off to the side. You can actually see there are a couple of workers that are over there, and they're kind of they've got that look to them where they're kind of sitting with their up on a rock with their head between their knees, kind of catching their breath, or kind of lying on the ground trying to gather their strength, so on and so forth. And you're able to make your way over to where they are to sit there. But as you guys make your way over to see them, go ahead and roll me sense motive checks.
Out of curiosity, if I do sleep, do I get any chance to throw off the con damage?
Actually, technically speaking, that would have been lost during that day of travel since then, which is why I was really hoping to hit you with 2 points of con damage, but you killed it too quickly. Because I was hoping to make it last into this day, but unfortunately, you heal one overnight normally.
Yeah, look, I won't get rid of the Sturge button in my... that was how I managed to do the negative, finally. I just made a Sturge buff.
Oh, really?
Or debuff. Yeah.
Oh,
I won't
funny.
get rid of that yet, because I imagine that's
it's totally pertinent. Yep, totally pertinent. And okay, cool. I actually am very happy that Tristan keeps failing, because it means I don't have to play Tristan. He's just kind of like plodding
Yeah.
along, following the orders, right? Making
He's
the occasional-
busy keeping the horse calm with everything that's going on.
Yeah, I imagine he's making the occasional side comments, but nothing that really adds anything beyond flavor to the moment, right? So, by the way, it's actually Gallon that comes over and comes to the quick realization that as you come over to these workers, once again, it's just probably because of the empathy that you're getting off of your stone, just immediately kind of like jumping up and feeling for these people, and also just your own personal mentality, right? You can see that these people are not afraid of you. Actually, well, I should say some of them are not afraid of you. Others are like very kind of pulled back because of where you are. Excuse me. You can see some of them are clearly just by the way that they're looking at you, kind of like that, mid distance stare. Seem like they're probably people that have seen like combat, seen war, the way their shoulders rest, stuff like that, are likely soldiers, whereas others very much do not give you that impression. Those are the ones that like borderline passing out or have their head between their knees, catching their breath, and they're vomited, et cetera, et cetera. All of them look utterly exhausted and miserable. Absolutely miserable. These people are dirty. That it's just, this is not good. But the big thing that kind of like catches you by like really kind of gathers you is that they all have this like soul crushed look. Like these people are broken on the inside. Like they have that look as though like the spark of life, kind of like seeing, like a tiger that's lived its whole life in the zoo. You know what I mean? It just has that look to it. Like, this is life. I was at a zoo yesterday. So some animals just have like an intelligence to them. Like when you see like elephants, they just have like an intelligence to them, and you just see them and you're just like, sad. Granted, the only elephants at the Roger Williams Zoo are actually elephants that are from sanctuaries where the elephants were actually saved. And two of the elephants actually had their tusks, because they're African elephants, had their tusks cut off to save them from poachers. They're all girls, but they all had their tusks cut off to save them from poachers. And one of them actually had a tusk crack out in the wild, so they cut it off to save it from, kind of like what we do to a tooth, and then remove the other one to save it from poachers. But they all came from sanctuaries in Africa to come here. But anyways, it's sad.
Yeah, that's oof. Gallon, of course, had to be the one to notice.
Makes
he's
sense.
Still,
It
he's
runs
still
a theme.
early in the campaign, so he's still very much. He wouldn't bring it up. It's another pang of disapproval, but not enough to cause him to say anything.
But you also were told the rumors of what this place was like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a reason why this place isn't very well known.
It's one of those things where he's probably saying in the back of his head constantly, like, these people are here for a reason. They had to have done something to their own extreme to be here, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just reminding himself of that, hoping that eases things for him.
So you guys go over to this area with these people that are here and just utterly exhausted from the way that they're being worked. And you do know this is supposed to be like high crimes criminals. This is like kind of like your triple max security, so on and so forth.
This prison is not for the normal people.
No, this is like where you see friggin' the one that Stark created floating out of the ocean, that sort of a thing. I can't remember what it's called. But
the raft.
Yeah, the raft. It's like the raft from Marvel.
Civil
Continuing.
War.
You guys go over there and sit down.
Viggo starts getting
a separation from them. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Viggo will start getting some notes here, and he just sort of says while he's looking through them, "I thought you were supposed to be mute, Gallon."
Are we close enough for the others to hear?
I mean, you can speak low. So they might hear something, but they wouldn't necessarily make out the words.
Less so ordered to be mute as to be discreet. It was direct order for getting our right name and rank, that is allowed. Whereas transformations, no. I will be in this suit for as long as I am visible.
I see. Right, well, Reports of statues.
It
Can't
is
lie, that interests me greatly.
strange.
Now,
I-
I believe our orders were to guard the dig site and assist the warden if we felt like it was in our interest. I
get
can't
the
remember her
feeling-
exact wording, Scott. It was like more or less help him if you want to.
Yeah, it's at your discretion, but your job is to guard the dig site, and he's saying these statues are the problem. So he's saying by the reports that were given to us, these statues are the problem. Investigate the statues. Go ahead.
They're saying that basically their soldiers that they would normally have go investigate this can't because they're doing other things, which is why they're wanting us to go do it because they need to investigate it because it is resulting in deaths.
So by investigating it, we're possibly guarding it in the way of finding out what might be
it's
attacking and
proactive
possibly
instead of
stop-
just reactive.
Yeah. You see him pull out a note. It's very old, and I don't. What languages do you know?
I know Glyn, Tazian, and Perrin.
All right, so you wouldn't realize what language it is, but he starts reading it. Statues that move. Kill. Well, he gets a smile on his face. I can't say this doesn't interest me greatly. Although the risk is quite high. Well, we have no choice but to investigate.
I agree. It's worth jumping on this while it's away from people. If something can kill that efficiently, if it gets closer. And he'll look towards where the rest of the people are completely exhausted with the same things are. It will find prey very easily.
Yes. Well, we must be sure to take the honeysuckle with us as well. I wouldn't want to be attacked by Scrag out there.
I agree.
Well, I know that the magics that I use give off a faint smell of it, right?
Only if you're using something that has telekinesis linked to it.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So not really. I guess
really
a little
says, like,
bit with my
telekinetic
ranged
barriers.
attacks.
Yeah, telekinetic
A li-
barriers. Mostly,
okay,
to be
so
clear, yeah.
Then I wouldn't say anything else extra then.
Do you actually know any legitimate powers or no?
So technically my ranged attacks are counted as it sort of, and if I next level I get energy attacks, which would be.
To be clear, because powers like spells.
Missive, I think is the only one.
Gotcha. Okay. The reason why I ask is because there's something called psionic, I think talents is the word, and more or less these are like zero level spells, infinite use kind of abilities. That the way it works is you get these. So if you, it's actually a cool chart. Like if you have one of these several powers, you actually get this for free that you can use. If you have one of these several ones, you get this for free that you can use. So it's actually kind of like a cool thing that exists.
Yeah, I think
So,
missive
but you
is the
don't
one
have
I get from Crystal. I get missive for free, and that's about the only power. Manifest a level equal to level. Yep.
Oh, you haven't used that yet, by the way.
No, I have not. It's
And you can do multiple targets too, I think.
actually, yeah, I need to bring up missive so I can have that on another thing.
The short version is it's a small telepathic. It's a telepathic version of message,
I believe. Yeah.
Which makes it way
It
more
has-
powerful because you don't have to say anything out loud.
Yeah, I don't know if they can't reply though. Is the thing.
I mean,
That's a good point.
Still huge.
If that's the case, then yeah, I guess this will all be mental. At least his replies would be mental.
No. You would say it out loud for now. That's fine because you haven't
Okay.
introduced that power to them yet, so you can almost imagine
good.
that being a
Yeah.
moment. later
Actually,
on.
yeah. Given their reaction to the speaking, might wait on that one till it's needed.
Yeah, touching the brains. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, it's one creature, not multiple creatures.
Okay.
I can spend power points to give it to additional creatures by the looks of things.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, back to the game. So you you guys talk about this. Go ahead. Oh,
I think we're
Tristan.
done talking
Tristan was
about it.
sorry. Tristan was actually going to chime in and say, "You think you got a spare candle?"
We have the one left. I think we used the one on the way.
He said he. Do you think he has a spare candle?
I will ask.
If they're expecting us to enter into the jungle some more, I imagine they would have supplies for that.
Possibly. Depends who they're sending out, I guess.
Oh. Given that it's the soldiers they would normally be sending out on this, I imagine they would have requisitioned one at least, or something along those lines.
Well, let's hope they do.
So when you go back to
Indeed.
after catching your breath for a little bit, I don't know how long you guys would want to spend over there. 10 minutes, an hour.
Viggo will spend, a good 15, 20 minutes reading. He's talking, but he's checking things and cross-checking things.
Gallon would be using this to properly just sort of have that, like, how there's resting where you're still like actively doing stuff but you're sort of relaxing, and then there's resting where you just let your body turn off and you're just like, he's doing that. He's basically just like leaned up somewhere and just blur.
Yeah, my wife likes to call that napping. I say, no, I'm awake.
Yeah, no, you don't fall asleep so much as it is very much just like you just switch off the muscles. you let yourself flop.
I'm not awake.
Oh.
Like you have the intention of staying awake, but then like you actually pass out for
Oh,
a little
yeah.
while.
I could never do that. I would pass the fuck out here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. It's how I survive, because you guys know I sleep so
Yeah,
little.
that's a good point.
I sleep so little that my sleep tracking app that I like is now that I have this watch or whatever.
Oh,
Sometimes
no.
so I sleep so late and get up so early that it'll just register as I didn't sleep that day. Because it's like, well, you went to sleep at 3:45 in the morning and you woke up at like 8. So it just goes, that's not like there was zero sleep last night, So I'm like, whoops,
Jesus.
But either way, so you'll see, like, if you look at a week, it's like a 3-day gap in the middle where there's zero sleep because of, anyways, it's just funny. So I take little naps here and there. I mean, just let my body rest here and there. So I imagine your character literally, it's one of those things where you literally fall asleep, but you're so alert that if somebody says anything to you, you're like, hey, Gallon, and then they like say a sentence afterwards, you pick up every part of what they say.
Yeah. I also imagine that the benefit of having Virgil is literally telepathically linked. Virgil is still watching everything while he's asleep. So the second, like, Virgil can literally wake him up with their psionic link instantly if he needs to.
Awesome. All right, so back to the thing. So you guys are wait. Okay, that's right. That's right. That's good because he's vigilant. He's vigilant.
Exactly.
So anyways, you get up and go back to the warden to speak with him, and he'll look at you as you approach, and say, have everything you need.
Yes, sir. With the exception of, do you have any of the spider killer candles?
He raises an eyebrow and says,
Spider eater, whatever they are.
you need supplies for traveling into the swamp.
Well, I hope to come back and report what's going on. Last thing I'd want is to be swarmed by sturges.
And so you'd prefer him to be ripped apart by scrags?
No, as in the report, I have a way around that.
I have not read the report yet, but what I would say is this. The risk is great out here when you use that candle. Most times we don't use the candles at all. We just prepare ourselves with different equipment, netting, to make it more difficult for them to get to us. I would suggest you take that netting with you. You sure you still want candles?
No, sir. I will defer to your judgment. You are the expert out here.
I just would hate to have to report back to the Dale Hare. Intentionally not using the phrase, you can tell intentionally not using the phrase River King. The Dale Hare, what happened to his soldiers. Which you can tell he meant lapdogs.
Yeah, Viggo just nods.
Okay.
All right, we'll retrieve this and set out.
He says, go speak to that one over there. She'll get you the supplies that you need.
Will do.
May the
I'll
swamp be
salute
forgiving.
and then leave.
Yeah. He says, may the swamp be forgiving. And you kind of go over there, and when you speak to the woman that's off to the side and saying, we're here for the supplies, she actually gives you, it's not quite beekeeper stuff, but, you can see it's like, a thing that you can, it's like a helmet that you can wear instead of the helmet that you typically do, or no helmet that you do, that actually has like a degree of mesh that comes down the back. Now, when I say mesh, I mean, it's a combination of like metal links, so it's heavy, but also like actual, like a fabric that comes down around the back, and it literally buttons in the front over here to kind of protect your arms. It's like a cloak that you're able to put on, and it's a cloak actually adds like a degree of like a canopy effect off your backside, but it doesn't drape all the way to the ground, because that would just like scrape on mud and get harder and harder. So it kind of falls down to just below where your knees are. But that cloak doesn't just kind of fall back. It also has, again, like a degree of cotton that like wraps around to the front that you can kind of like button off. And then there's like additional like side sleeves that you can put on that also seems like button in. It's almost like you're putting on like almost like a hazmat suit to as you're going, right? So the out of the whole thing, the only area that would be exposed really is your hands if you're not wearing gloves. Your ankles don't have anything additional on them, like most of your body does, but like
Astral skin.
kind of like your ankles down don't have anything additional. And your face doesn't, but there's actually a mesh that's kind of like also attaches to the same helmet as well, that has a bit of weights to it. So the weights, if you like throw it over your head, unless you move suddenly, if you throw it over your head, it'll kind of like hold it back behind you. Or if you flop it over, again, the weights kind of hold it down in front of you, so it's harder for like mosquitoes or whatever to get in. So it's almost kind of like a it's almost kind of like a beekeeper's outfit, right? To stop these things from getting to you. This is typical mosquitoes, but it's also sturges. To be clear as to what this does, this gives you a +5 to your touch AC against sturge attacks.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, funnily enough, that other sturge would still have hit me.
I rolled really well. They have a +7.
You did.
I mean, they have a +7, but the big thing is like whatever your touch AC is, this more or less makes it so it's only a +2 against what your touch AC is. So that's kind of how it works. Yeah. The only downside is this is additional weight and like kind of like heat insulation when you're already inside of a swamp in like a tropical area. So it's very warm, it's very uncomfortable, and because of that, while traveling inside of it, you actually occasionally have to make fortitude saves to not become fatigued because of it, utilizing the rules. So sorry, not necessarily to have fatigue, or to take if you get into even hotter areas, if you're traveling for extreme amounts of time in it, it could potentially do non-lethal damage to you as well. It's exhausting. And again, non-lethal damage heals pretty quickly. It actually heals at the rate of your level an hour of resting outside of it, so it heals very, very quickly. Either way, so it can be very dangerous traveling inside of this stuff because of how warm it makes you.
Be very weird seeing like Galen put this on with his crystals form as well. It's just like putting the netting over the crystal form.
For a Mycen emote, I don't know if I would use the artist that I use for everything else. I almost feel as though that's something that I should have Rena do, because she's like
the swamp. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, please go ahead.
May the swamp be forgiving, because the gate ain't.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Oh,
No,
Steve said that.
Steve.
Ooh.
Yeah, Steve. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that's good. That tickles my pickle.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. So anyways, your character's kind of getting this stuff. I don't know if everybody would decide to wear it or not because of how heavy it is. Oh, also to be clear, because it acts like an additional layer on top of you, it will give you another +1, a -1 ACP. So I don't know if your character has any armor check penalty as it is, but this would give you a -1 ACP. And if you already have an armor check penalty, that applies an additional -1. This is doubly important if you're in an area of swimming, because ACP is doubled when you're swimming. So I'm going to leave it to Neil to make this decision next session.
Yeah, no, that I will definitely put it on, because if worse comes to worse, I can adapt to the situation.
How so? What do you mean?
Well, I can literally have a swim speed, remember?
Oh, sorry. That situation. I'm so sorry. I mean, you have a swim speed. It actually gives you a +10 to your swim. So taking like a -4 or something like that, who cares? You get a +10.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, I can adapt to the situation, so I'm fine.
And when you have a swim speed, unless in almost any scenario, you can choose to take a 10. So
yeah,
almost any scenario that exists. So either way, you would choose to put it on to protect yourself the additional layers. Would Viggo?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, and again, I'll leave it to Tristan to see whether or not he would want to do it when he comes back next session. But then as for the horse, they actually do have things like this that exist for horses as well, that are meant to be additional protection to keep the horses. You've probably seen it for horses that are kind of kept in certain stabling or whatever, so they don't freak out, because horses that are bugged by flies, by like horse flies and whatnot too often, they actually get very irritable. And irritable horses are dangerous around humans, because they could just like accidentally react to something a little bit too much, and that could easily harm us, because they're like 8 times our weight or whatever it is. So they have some degree of stuff to protect the horse, or make it so it's a little less irritable, but nothing to protect it from scourge attacks. That kind of stuff is developed because they don't have horses here. Bringing a horse into a swamp is pretty stupid. So they don't do that. And Neil might very well decide for the horse to kind of stay behind. That's entirely up to him. But in the meanwhile, you guys adorn your equipment and start. You get your directions for where it is that you're supposed to go. And the directions that you're given to kind of touchstone.
They don't have flying horses, so
they're kind of touchstone directions that you're going to be working with, as opposed to like a map mapped out to where it is. So trying to find your location from A to B is definitely going to be a bit more difficult than usual. So for that navigation, it's actually going to be a survival check. And to finish off this session, before I have to go quickly get ready for work, because I do have to cover the person as I talked about on the announcement yesterday, I'll have the best person roll a survival check, which isn't Neil. He has a 0. I'll have the best person roll a survival check. But to be clear, before you do that, we have the important things that need to happen: survival check and perception check to keep a lookout as you guys are going. So one person's going to survive, one person's going to perceive, and the third person is going to choose to aid the other one working.
All right.
So go ahead.
I have a 10 perception and a 6 survival.
Wow, that's a huge
I have
perception.
a 9 perception and a 5 survival.
Oh, okay. So
not too bad.
Hold on, Tristan. Tristan has a 0 perception and a 0 survival. So,
well, in that case, it's just a case of which one do we want the -1 on then, survival or perception? Honestly, probably perception, because survival's getting there.
Yeah.
So I'll do just survival. You do perception.
hold on.
All right, let Neil try
Who's
and aid
Tristan
you.
Aiden?
We want survival probably.
So aiding
yeah.
in survival.
Aiding survival.
Sure. So he just needs to roll a 10 to aid. God forbid he rolled a 20, would give you a +3. But all right, survival. Oh my God! Jeez, I should roll as Tristan more often.
Yeah, holy shit.
Oh Jesus! So he
So
actually gives you.
you rolled bad yesterday, and now you're rolling good today.
Yeah, because they're rolling for the PCs, okay?
Cool.
Anyways, so why don't you go ahead and add a +3? So you have a +13 to the survival check. That's actually really good, because swamps are notoriously difficult to navigate, especially if you don't know it.
Exactly. That's why I was thinking it was a very good. I almost added +30. There's a little bit of a difference there.
Oh, that'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Keep the 30.
19. Okay.
Hold up. You rolled survival. I thought you had a +10.
What? No, survival. I had a plus.
Oh,
I have perception. I have a plus
plus
10.
10. My apologies. Survival, you get a plus 6,
Yeah.
which is why it's plus 9. So 19, and I have to say that is all you can do. You can't modify that,
Can't
of
push
course.
it to 20, unfortunately.
Yep, of course. Awesome. So
Still,
19
that's
total,
very
and
nice.
Jake, for you?
Oh, Neil's in chat now, and he says Carrot can run on difficult terrain for 3 minutes.
Your survival check is not bad, but it's also not great either. It's kind of in the middle for the scenario that you're in. Your perception check is kind of trash for the scenario that you're in. So, and again, if you were on open plains, this would be both those checks would be fine. But
I
because
guess
of
this makes sense because we're all new to this environment. So honestly, this is a very appropriate rolling.
that's a freshly baked. It's like hot. It's a muffin right now. Hot. Thanks, muffin.
Oh my god!
You're my blueberry. Ooh, it's a hot muffin. Oh. You gotta love it when they're so hot you don't even want to butter them. Yeah.
The stairs.
Look
Look it. Oh wait.
This is so good. All right, and so that's your survival check, that's your perception check, and that's kind of where it has to be that we end, for the sake of not jumping into anything that we then
Honestly, I like this. It makes it more interesting next session.
can't. Can you just write a note? Neil, bug suit or no? Just right there, so we know to look at that next session.
He's in chat. You can ask him.
Well, he might not know what we're referring to if he was like doing classes or whatever. He may have not heard the
that's a
whole
good point,
conversation.
yeah.
So we can explain it to him next session, so he has proper information to work off of. But, so listen, I have to try to finalize the details today for everybody. I have to try to finalize the details today. So, the plan I have is, because I have to work an additional like 4 extra hours today I didn't expect to. Plus, I have a conference call tomorrow, my day off. Plus, I had to work an additional 45 minutes on Monday, and all this other crazy stuff. Thanks, Aklo. All this crazy stuff. My intention is to get out of work on Friday insanely early. So instead of like getting out of work with just enough time to get home, shovel food in my face, and well, actually, I usually go live then shovel food in my face on Friday. I might get out as early as 2:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, meaning that I'm probably going to have an opportunity to do the Adir update stream then. And I could probably still do one tomorrow during that time, or at least start it tomorrow during that time that Rory's in school. So just kind of keep everybody updated on that one. Most likely tomorrow for that like quick hour and 45-minute stream. But then Friday I could probably do like a multiple hour one, which would be pretty freaking cool. The only reason why I wouldn't do that is if one of my interweeb friends was like, "Hey Scott, we're doing this thing. You want to hang out?" And for the first time in like many months, I can actually say yes and do something with them instead. Because I tell my friends no all the time. Anyways, so I will see you guys tonight over on Lost Initiative. Well, with how long it takes Rena to finish pooping and start the stream in about 12 hours. Otherwise, 11 hours and 40 minutes. Anything you want to say, Tesh? Sorry, I just wanted to get that out before I forgot. Anything you would like to say before I find somebody to raid? If anybody's even live.
Yes, now I can actually say it now that Wade has posted the video. First of all, go check out his sponsored video for Second Extinction on Wade's channel, youtube.com/minion, Lord Minion 777. And then I'm going to be posting my point of view of more of that session that didn't make it into that video because it was exceptionally funny but a little bit buggy. So he didn't put it in the sponsored video, but it's going to be it had me in tears laughing. So I'm going to be posting that on my YouTube at youtube.com/thetesttube. And follow me on Twitch. Hopefully we'll be playing some more Destiny. The new update's fantastic. So bit of that, bit of Monster Hunter, and bit of Warframe. And follow me on Twitter for updates on all these things.
Jake, sir, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling great. Yeah.
Yeah. Doing great.
Not really doing too much, but yeah,
That's it.
not
That's all you
much
got?
to add there. Yeah, yep.
I mean, I can share. Hold on. Do you hear that now? Did you hear that?
I did.
Well, he mentioned Destiny. It's Destiny music, so that's why I was just.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. If you have nothing to add, Jake, then I'll see you all tonight, 9 p.m. EST, Lost Initiative. Twitch.tv/Lost Initiative. It will be a lot of fun. No shilling for Warmonger. Well, he's disappointed with himself in Warmonger at the moment. You know what I mean? He just ruined his DM's session, had way too much fun at his DM's expense, and he's just kind of like sad with himself at the moment. So, you know, he's, you know,
Once more with
he's
feeling.
a little too, just a little bit too much for him. All right, let's go and raid this person. Let's raid this nerd. This is a nerd. He's I think you're friends with him as well, Tash, aren't you?
Who are you
Gumby?
in? Oh, yeah, Gumby.
Oh.
Gumby is hilarious and also utterly insane.
It was funny. I was going through my not so fun story. I was going through my when I was doing my tax stuff the other day, so I have to go through like a lot of like PayPal. I was looking through there, and then I was like, what's this like random $5? Oh yeah, Gumby's birthday. That's right. I saw it. And I was like, oh yeah, that's so funny because that was such a funny. I think it was like Among Us or something like that we were playing.
Yeah, it's still one of my favorite moments in Phasmophobia ever is with Gumby, where I was hiding in a room upstairs and I just hear him go from one side of the house to the other side of the house, swearing and insulting the ghost as it was chasing him. Just like, fuck you, motherfucker, fuck you, just like going from one side to the other and then him dying.
That's pretty funny.
It was amazing.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.